One is from 10.7, and the other is from, what was this? 2. I'm not sure which one is which, though. Yeah, 2/28/24. So, okay, so both these are indeed after the plan finalized. So, let's go.
Now they came to Darth Vader, and it's because they saw some of the
By the way, I'm sure there's more of them. I just put Houston into the search function on my PP Seeds archive, and this is what happened.
light side, and that was still suppressed. And there's a bunch of instances like that in Star Wars with these butterflies that surround.
We're going to use Star Wars now.
People that have the light force in them, and it's basically they basically symbolize that there's.
I knew this was right before Houston came in, but oh my god. This is great.
There's still hope, and there's still and the butterflies are that symbolization of the light force. So every time you see butterflies in Star Wars, it has that connection to the light side.
Yeah, and I think too, like a lot of people were speculating too, like, what is the image that that Ryan Cohen posted of himself being old? And to be honest with you, this is my own tinfoil, my own speculation on it. I think I think it has something to do with 84 years. I think it has something to do with the Titanic, and I think at the end it.
See, I don't usually watch BB's live streams, but already I'm just like warp speed into this fucking stupid.
It was revealed that the old woman, in fact, had the crown jewel, which was what she saved during the Titanic sinking. And I think he's alluding to the fact that he has the crown jewel now. So that's just my take on it. That's my tinfoil for the night. Again, take it as you please. But Brian, we loved having you on the show, man. We're going to go ahead and move on to Houston Wade for the end of the show tonight. So Brian, loved having you on, and appreciate the tinfoil, man. It's fantastic. I'd strongly urge you to make a post on the PP sub so more eyes can get on that. We do have a lot of tinfoil heads in the subreddit. They'd love to see it.
Oh, yeah.
Right, thanks for having me, PP. And please give me a dildo slap.
All right. We'll get your sick fetish out. Here's a dildo slap for Brian, man. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our next guest of the night. It's our last guest. It's Houston Wade. Those who know who Houston Wade is, man, we'd like you to give a big uproar in the chat, man. So,
we really know who Houston Wade is.
Chat, please give a warm welcome to Houston Wade. And real quick, touching grass with a 10. Bob says my credit card is expired and hasn't come in the mail. Can't send a super chat. All I want to say is I'm getting a butterfly tramp stamp on the hairy small of my back. I'll tell you what, man. If fucking butterfly makes me millions, man, I'll absolutely get a tramp stamp too, man. I'd love for some people to follow me through with that. All right, let's bring in Houston Wade. Chat, give a warm welcome to Houston Wade.
Oh yeah, this is looking really bad in hindsight.
All right, the man of the hour is here, Houston Wade. How you doing?
Thank you.
To see you on the show again.
Thank you for conveniently putting him in the middle of the live stream for me. Thank you so much, PP. You're brilliant. Let me move this over just a little bit. There we go. Well, I kind of want to go this way and put Michael and them together, but we already have done that meme, so let's do this. All right. Amazing. Let's go.
Raced home as fast as I could, got here. I have no idea what's been going on for the last 5 hours. So
no worries, man. No worries at all. So some of the things we were discussing is just kind of where Bed Bath is at today. Again, we've been analyzing some of the stuff from 9 months ago. Again, with 6th Street coming in, his sale of Bed Bath & Beyond, trademarks as well that were filed while he was an insider. Again, where we're kind of standing at is the stock is essentially getting canceled out. A lot of people are hoping to see a credit big via 6th Street or something in terms of making us whole. We did cover a little bit of blockchain stuff as well, but that's just the base of it, man. We've just been kind of trying to figure out what is happening with the stock that we all love. So, Houston Wade, what do you think, man? I mean, it's been a crazy last couple weeks. Some people have been saying that you're extremely bullish as of lately. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. So, like, I don't think anyone has done this to lose money. Like, there's no reason.
Yes. Because when I buy a stock, my intent is to lose money every single time. Brilliant. Amazing.
Why we've got these Philo and dip facilities. We got crazy amounts of bonds were being purchased last winter, like all in a couple of days. It was Kevin Malone saying something like we've got just gajillions of volume and bonds happening for Bed Bath & Beyond. We don't know why.
Sure.
Yes, that towering intellect known as Kevin Malone.
I think it's because what they want is they want the Knolls and they want the giant bear trap. I think they got it.
Mm-hmm.
So short hedge funds are stupid. They do the same thing, every single one of them. They all short the exact same companies. They do it the exact same way. They all came from the first couple of hedge funds, like this massive tentacles coming out of a jellyfish or something.
Houston Wade, get off your dial-up internet and use a real connection.
Like,
Hey Houston,
Short
it looks
over
like
and
you're
over.
looks like you're lagging.
oh no.
Hey Houston, you're lagging pretty bad. Can you just in your browser there, just reload the restream.
Yep.
Usually that fixes it, so maybe that should just
Okay.
fix it. Just reload the browser and maybe we'll fix that. Sound robotic. No name with the 20. Don't put your eggs all in one basket. All right, with the smiley face. With the wink. Right on. All right, I think he looks better.
Actually,
There we go. That's a lot better. I
genuinely
think
good
this is the
advice.
first time you came in. Yeah, it was just a
Okay,
little louder
alright.
when you first came in.
It's
Perfect.
either that or it's my roommate downloading terabytes of video games on his Xbox.
Porn,
Um,
maybe.
yeah.
Great suggestion, PP. Or maybe it was Houston downloading porn.
He's a rabbi. He better not. So I was saying, like, there's these hedge funds are stupid. They're all
Sure.
the same. They all came from the same lineage. They all do exactly the same thing, which is
Right.
just short and short
Yeah.
and short and short and short and short. And their goal is to short things down to zero, not pay taxes, move on to the next thing. So if one hedge fund is shorting,
That's not how that works. Like, if you have any sort of capital gain, you pay taxes on it. So if a company went bankrupt and you shorted it all the way down to zero, then you have a realized profit that gets taxed. Like, in the business, this is called foreshadowing.
In the business, we call this foreshadowing.
The best kind of foreshadowing is foreshadowing that the participants had no idea was coming.
Bed Bath & Beyond, you can guarantee all of them are shorting Bed Bath & Beyond. They
Sure.
all have lunch together. They all know exactly what's up. So if this is indeed a bear trap, and it is a way to basically just take
This is the kind of foreshadowing that I can understand why he wanted this live stream to go away. Very far away.
capital from all these dudes, A, it's a first in history. B, it'll be the largest wealth transfer probably in human history. And C, it will allow the legendary status of someone like Ryan Cohen to be cemented in the public psyche. I mean, we know who he is. The general public has no clue who this guy is. If you were to go on the street and I say, hey, do you know who Ryan Cohen is? They'd be like, did I go to school with him? I don't know.
We've even seen people like Kaz a while back ago. Like he went into a GameStop. He's like, yeah, you don't know who Ryan Cohen is. And even employees who work at GameStop, just normal people, right? They don't know who the fuck this is.
He's
Yeah.
a boss.
Yeah, because they're not
Yeah.
insane,
So,
crazy people like
so, like,
you.
I have no idea what's going to happen. I can speculate all day long. We can speculate all day long. Tons of every time I go on to one of the Reddit, subreddits, and I read something like that's plausible. It's like, yeah, it could be going to blockchain. Yeah, it could be like giving out distributions for multiple companies.
And this just kind of shows you like the kind of people that you're dealing with here. They just absorb anything that confirms their biases. This is just classic conspiracy theorist behavior. And I'm glad kind of that we went down this road because like I don't usually deal with like I deal with PP's posts, but his like live streams are just they're usually just gobbledygook nonsense, and so I ignore them. But I'm glad we settled in on this one because it's been pretty entertaining. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, they could be doing a buyback. Yeah, like every single possible thing is totally is completely plausible, and we could think of like 20, 25 things if we want to, and it'll be the 26th thing we didn't think of. And I think that's what he's been working on for the past couple of years. And I didn't come around to it probably until last winter. I was still pretty butthurt losing out on $108,000 in my call options when he had sold everything.
Oh, that's rough. How much did you invest in those?
So I had powered through. So I put like 2,000 on GameStop calls. That got me 15,000. Then I bought GameStop
pretty good.
puts. That put me to 25,000. And then I bought a boatload of BBBY calls, and I was up to 108,000.
Holy
Was
shit,
that Thursday when he announced he sold everything after close? And by Friday morning they weren't with spit. So
I somehow do not believe that he had like $108,000 in calls. That's your classic Houston Wade. I made up. Oh, source. I made it up. Like, dude works a minimum wage job and is getting garnished. And if you don't know the process for being garnished, I don't know how much of a paycheck can be garnished in the state of Washington, but in my home state, Kansas, you can garnish up to 25% of someone's paycheck. And it doesn't care if it's bills that need to be paid or anything like that. This dude had a roommate because like he just couldn't afford living on his own, and rightfully so. When you only get 75% of your paycheck, you know, assuming that they have the same garnishing laws, like there's not a lot of room for free spending. So the idea that he has $100,000 to just blow out on options, or this kind of ridiculous amounts of money. Now I get at that time there was a lot of IV in GameStop options, but I just don't. color me odd, if you will, but I don't buy that the compulsive liar made that much money on his options trades. Just me. Just gonna throw that out there.
Should have sold before close, but
Yeah.
you know,
It's rough.
such is life. I know.
Yeah, that's life. Man. You're always
Uh,
going to make money and lose money. It's just a fact of life, man.
Yeah, you know, it is what it is. You learn
Right.
and you gamble again.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, there you go, man.
But like in my head, it's like, oh well, Ryan.
Also, if I had an active judgment out and a live stream and was, you know, actively, you know, on the internet, I wouldn't be discussing making boat tons of money online in an open public space that the person who is the judgment creditor could use as a means to garnish my bank account, which they could garnish just like fully, just like, as long as it wasn't related to my, you know, income that was already being garnished. They could just go into your bank account and just clean it out. I would not be bragging about the amounts of money I was making in options and then have them make an aid and execution request for my bank accounts and my brokerage account so they could come garnish my brokerage account. That doesn't seem like a very smart thing to be doing. Just throwing that out there too.
Tried to fight this board. He was trying to like get through. He's like, look, we need to make these changes. The viable company, we can do these things. And he got his people on the board, and it wasn't enough of them. He didn't have the majority, and the board just kind of fucked him over. And he was like, you know what, I'm out. That's how I thought about it last August. I didn't realize that, you know, this money came through from 6th Street and from Hudson Bay, and you know, he would be a bondholder, as we could see from all the filings and listed.
And you probably weren't aware that he put 3 people of his own people on the board as well.
I knew he had
Shelly.
2. Yeah, he had 2 people on the board.
There was actually 3.
Yeah, the one,
Two-
that guy
two
who
of
wrote
them
that post
had
today
left.
was really angry at me for like, "Use 3, you dumbass." I'm like, whatever, dude.
Yeah.
But that post pissed me off.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there, you know, that sometimes don't like, certain people. I get it, and you know, it's like on the show we want to have everybody share their opinion. You've been on the show before. I think you've been on the show 2 times actually prior. The first time you were
so
on,
there's
there,
ones
we
I
didn't
need
have
to
as many
dig up
people.
on.
Now, I mean, we have over 1,000 plus watching nowadays. But whenever you would come on, I think we were still around the 200-300 amount of people. So
losing
we've
it.
had you on before. You're respectful. You know, you get. Are you there, Houston? Yeah. Looks like he's like moving and he's frozen. Yo, Houston, try reloading the.
Yo, Houston, try adjusting the satellite dish on the top of your roof.
Link again. Poning Show says, I will fuck a shill up. Fuck him up, man. If you see a shill in the chat, fuck him the fuck up, dude.
While we're waiting for Houston to reconnect, I have a,
Yeah.
I have a question or a comment on something Houston said and a question
Sure.
for everybody.
Some of these brokers do kind of know. I trust the fact that, and I think we were still around the 2. Yeah.
So Houston's comment being that, you know, we can all speculate all day long, and for a lot of reasons, that's why I'm here. It's entertaining, it keeps me engaged, and it's just great to see what people's ideas are about how all of this will pan out. But my question for everybody here right now is, do we think that we've seen enough at this time to
I'm really
definitively
tempted to
conclude
get to
that there has been a
2
change in the
to
transfer
X,
agent? I mean,
but we'll
we
see.
know that it's no longer AST.
Correct.
Does that mean that it's definitely got to go somewhere else?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
I
Yeah, I
can't
think so.
imagine
And like I
listening
said,
to this-
Fidelity said that they confirmed Bed Bath's transfer agent is now Mellon Investor Services. So
I've got this now at 1.75, and it sounds pretty normal to me. Like, I can't imagine listening to these idiots at regular speed. They must take forever to get their thoughts out. Wild.
some of these brokers do in fact know where it's going, and I trust Fidelity. Look, Fidelity is who I had DRS my shares. They did it for me a while ago, so it's like I trust the fact that they have to know where the fuck these AST shares are headed or what they've been told. Again, they could be wrong, but it's probably higher up in the chain that they've been told that. So I think it's safe to say that they're going somewhere, but where they'll eventually land up is really the big question. I mean, is it going to be, there's been even speculation that that it's, if Teddy's registered like as a bank, that technically they could be like considered a DRS agent. I don't know yet. I have no idea, but I would think that it's safe to say that some of these brokers do kind of know where, to some degree, where it's going.
Awesome. Houston, welcome back.
Yeah,
Good to
sorry.
see you. Looks like your
misread.
rabbi roommate there is downloading that porn again.
I know. I thought.
just keep beating that joke into the wall, into the fucking ground. just fucking. Is it dead yet? No.
Told him to get off the internet.
Right on. Yeah, if you want to, we were basically talking about the board members that he had instilled. So again, you know, I mean, what are your thoughts with like cancellation of shares and like where we're heading? I mean, do you think there's going to be a new equity, and if so, how do you think that new equity is going to be issued?
I think there's gonna be new equity. I think shareholders are gonna get their piece. I don't think Ryan Cohen's dumb enough to like, I played you fuckers, and
That didn't happen.
now I'm gonna take this whole thing for myself.
Yeah, I don't buy
he knows
that.
that everyone's gonna be like, I'm out.
Well, I mean,
He knows
it
how
go-
much GME shares and
it-
like,
it goes
having this
back.
personality is good.
Yeah, well, it goes back to like essentially, you know, like it takes years to build a reputation and it takes seconds to destroy one. So I mean, if a lot of people get
Yep.
burned, they're not going to believe in Ryan Cohen for any future
All the people in this live stream are a case example of that.
endeavor, because again, you know, a lot of these people who followed him are from GME, and you know, he just kind of one day just filed this to sell. So there has to be something in between, in my opinion. And I think that this guy's very
No,
cool and
there
calculated.
doesn't.
I don't find him, and I think he's highly intelligent too. I don't think that he would foresee, you know, making a mistake like this. I think that the guy is cool and calculated for a reason. And I think it's really like a lot of people just aren't seeing like the bigger picture like a lot of us are. So
We desperately need him to be like this, otherwise we lose all our fucking money.
that's kind of how I do it.
I have a friend who's an author, best-selling author, and he wrote Johnny Evans. He wrote a book called Small World a couple years ago, which is about the American West. It took place through like 4 generations and of like pioneers to modern day. And going to his house, you could see like it looked like that meme of Charlie in It's Always Sunny with like all the conspiracy stuff, the lines drawn. And it was him like trying to get these threads for all these characters because he had like 30 main characters in this book, all trying to be like placed out throughout history and their children and grandchildren, and it was just diagrams everywhere. And my brain could not comprehend how he was going to piece it all together, and it became a wonderful book. Anybody like go read it. And I think Ryan Cohen penned this thing up like probably in grad school or something. He's just like, I have an idea.
In grad school? Are we fucking serious? That he was just in grad school and coming up with this shit? Bed Bath and Beyond? Before he even did Chewy or anything like that? Are we being fucking serious?
If I ever get this opportunity, I'm going to do this. And I bet in August 2020, when he got his investment in GameStop, he had a plan. He's probably looking at brick and mortars. He's probably thinking about, you know, could have very well been Big Lots, other than like, it could have been someone along the same lines that has, you know, this amount of debt, losses year over year, the stock price has been hammered down by shorts. All we need is one of them, and we can absorb their knolls and change the entire world.
Right.
And I think Bed Bath was the one. He had a plan A, which was, we'll get these people on the board, we'll see if we can change them the way we did at GameStop. And that didn't work. So he's like, fuck you, plan B.
Yeah.
And that's what we're sitting on now.
And, you know, and real quick, I have a question for you. Touching Grass with a 10. Looking forward to resurrecting the butterfly tramp stamp from 2000. Is the guest list still open for the Pulte party? Absolutely, Touching Grass. I think we still have a 30 or 40.
Oh man, this is before the first Pulte party. Yeah, that is right, because it would have been in October. Oh my goodness. Oh.
Spots left, man. I have to confirm. I'll tally them up and I'll do a confirmation on how many spots we actually have. But yes, we do. If you do want to come. All right. So Houston Wade, take it away for us. Or in a moment, I want to ask you something. But unless one of you guys have a question for Houston, or he could keep going.
I'll just ask Houston the same question I asked earlier. Houston, do you think that with what we've seen so far from the delisting of the deregistration of BBBY stock from AST, do you think we've seen enough to definitively conclude that we're going to be working with a new transfer agent at this point? Because for me, if that's the case, I don't see any outcome here other than tendies all around for equity holders. Because why the hell would you change transfer agent if we're going to nothing?
If you're just canceling, exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you. Someone fucking says it.
Yeah. Everything they're doing is like we're preparing for something bigger. We're getting all our ducks in a row before we release a 10K and an S1. And they may release other S1s because they might be splitting off.
That didn't happen.
But my biggest this will be a bummer. It's not like, you guys will get anything. I don't think it's gonna happen. I think it will be, our S1's gonna be so complicated we have to wait for approval from the SEC. That's the one that I'm like, because if they submit S1, it's got a really bunch of complicated stuff. It's not just like issuing new shares, done with SEC, you can go stamp, okay. But it's like, we're gonna make 5 companies, we're gonna have crypto dividends, we're gonna do this and that. It could be a 30 to 45 day wait period for them to review this thing and be like, what the hell are they planning on doing?
Yeah.
Which is what happened just with MMTLP last year. They submitted their S1 to go private and took 4 submissions over 5 months for the SEC finally go, okay, we understand what you're doing.
The funny part about this is this was back in 2023, which would mean that, was it before or after the, oh yeah, if this was in October, this was right before the whole fucking collapse of everything. And they're still waiting on getting things set up so that they can do the S1 with the SEC. So like, not the original one that did the spin out, but like the new one where they can issue new shares. So like, this is Houston just absolutely losing people's shirts in more than one shitty investment. Amazing.
So that's, to me, that's the biggest like, ugh. But if it's simple, if it's like we just want to go back on exchange or we want to go to a crypto exchange or whatever, then I think it could be pretty quick.
Yeah.
To date, they still haven't gotten back on an exchange. and they're still not trading, and it's just bad for investors all around because there's no escape. You just sit there with a stock that's functionally worth nothing because there's no market for the shares, and the market is what determines the value. If there's no market, your shares are functionally worth zero.
I think
but we
so.
won't know until we see it.
And look at the speed of the bankruptcy, Houston Wade. I mean, they filed for Chapter 11 restructure in April, and already it's been 5 months later, right? Or I'm sorry, it's been 5 months later, or it's roughly 6 months, but it's been 6 months later, and all of a sudden, they're heading towards the cancellation of shares. Again, companies that file bankruptcy, it's a long, drawn-out process, sometimes over years, sometimes over the course of a multitude of years.
I mean, Sears has been in this since like 2000, I don't know, when I was a child, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, so, like, the thing is that, look at all these other stocks, like Toys R Us is still fucking trading, like, that fucking stock, like, went from a penny to 20 cents. I think it came back down, but the fact is that these, like, zombie stocks, they're not canceled. They're still there. They're still being traded.
If only they knew then what we knew now. I have a feeling a lot more of them might have dumped out of this sooner.
And the fact is that what actually is going on with some of these stocks, again, people are so quick to jump on and say, oh, your equity's canceled and your shares are canceled. But the thing is something here doesn't make sense, right? Not only was the restructuring incredibly fast, but the move to cancellation, the move to get rid of these leases, it was very, very fucking quick. And even the judge on...
Yeah, this was before Wolfspeed. Wolfspeed happened, okay, it would be last year now, because this is the first. Because it happened in, what was it, July? Early July, late June? I remember when the news came out about their bankruptcy. Because the news came out, and I've learned things about bankruptcies, that when the big newspapers come out and say a company's bankruptcy is imminent, they usually have checked with someone. The company may not have officially announced it yet, but usually within a week of that announcement, they're filing bankruptcy. So Wolfspeed says it gets these reports that they're imminently filing bankruptcy, and all the Wolfspeed baggies were like, "Oh no, that's just fake news." Burr, 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 burr. Well, sure enough, they filed it pretty quickly after those reports. So this was well before, because this is, I want to say 2023. This one was October 23.
Day one goes, all right, we're going to get you in and out of here. And the most bizarre thing is that Sunday that they filed bankruptcy, and ABC, I know you remember this, that Sunday they filed bankruptcy, they were in the fucking courtroom that following Monday. A day later. Okay, you tell me this fucking shit wasn't playing in.
I mean, that's how first day hearings work. You have things planned out before you file. So that way you're ready to proceed. Because the intent is to try, especially when it's Chapter 11, the intent is to try to keep it as a going concern, to reorganize. But a Chapter 11 doesn't mean that it can't be a liquidation. That's the thing that people always get caught up about. Chapter 11 can be a liquidation. It's just that the company controls it. And that's why all these companies almost always file as a Chapter 11, even if they plan to liquidate, because it puts the company in control of how the bankruptcy goes. Chapter 7, U.S. trustee has complete control. And so almost all bankruptcies, regardless, are filed as Chapter 11 right out the get-go. Like Metamaterials was a weird anomaly where the company's officers just threw up their hands and went Chapter 7. They didn't want to fucking deal with it. They washed their hands of it and moved on. So yeah, of course they're not gonna walk into the courtroom unprepared. And of course that first day hearing, I mean, it has a name for a reason. They're ready to go, and so I like people trying to read things into this is hilarious. Yeah, most companies file within 48 hours of the press release. Well, this wasn't even a press release. Like usually a lot of those are like our sources have verified, so they called someone at the company. But yeah, usually within the press release, they're filing pretty shortly.
Advance, man. I mean, honestly, God, like, how does that not make sense to anybody out there? But again, it's crazy.
If Ryan wasn't a part of this, he could easily just say, like, I'm not part of this, and it wouldn't be considered manipulation. It would be considered anything. He's already being
exactly. He's
because Ryan Cohen is just known to be such a talkative person who's just all the time, like people literally have to almost strangle him to get an interview. I I don't fucking get it.
being sued for a pump and dump, right? So that case is already there. So it would make no sense that he could just simply go, look, I'm being sued for a pump and dump allegation. I thought that I would come in and restructure the company and turn it around, and things didn't work out between me and the board, and I had to sell. Sorry, guys, those who got burned, yada, yada. He never says anything like that. Never comes out and gives a direct explanation, but people will point to the GME interview and they will try to get information. Again, he had a standstill at the time and he had to speak in generalities, but people are taking it for a literal sense of what he's saying. Again, he probably already says it. I have a standstill with the company. I have to speak.
Like, whenever he doesn't say something, that's evidence and proof. But when he directly says he no longer has any investment in Bed Bath & Beyond, that's not good enough. Like, talk about fucking moving the goalpost and selective reasoning.
In generalities. And not only that, he mentions the aggressive buying, but the thing is that he was already aware of the aggressive buybacks before he even joined the board. He was aware of how the company was burning through money, the debt that they were under. He was fully aware.
Yeah, and he didn't understand the situation fully. He even admits this. His whole big thing was, why would a company be doing these aggressive buybacks unless there was some value there? And they were trying to, realize that value. It's the reason why he bought into, like, Alibaba, I believe, is like they were doing these aggressive buybacks, or he wanted them to. But that's always been his investment strategy, sort of buying off the Warren Buffett thing. And buybacks themselves aren't always a good thing. Like, I get the idea of a buyback to push up the price. You want to reduce the amount of equity out there and concentrate your own equity ownership, and deliver value to people who are invested as well. But buybacks aren't always a great idea. Buybacks are an idea of a company that's usually not in tech, usually well established. Like if Walmart did a buyback, I could believe that. Like there's not a lot of places Walmart could expand to do. Or expand and do things, or like they're usually established companies that there are no growth opportunities. Like buybacks and dividends are usually done by companies that there's no investing sort of thing that other places that they could use their capital for that would make more sense. And so you do those sort of things, and that's what he thought was going on with Bed Bath & Beyond, and he figured out that the shit turd was a lot worse than he thought it was. And so he got the fuck out of Dodge once he figured it out. But of course, none of these marks want to admit that, because that means that they got zeroed out. They're fucking dunzos.
When he comes in, he makes it a direct point of his business to oust Triton, right? So to me, I think there's more to it, that people out there for some reason want to gaslight people and think that there's nothing else there, but the facts say otherwise, from what we've been speculating. Dominic with the 10, I think RC learned some things competing against.
No, the facts state that he's no longer involved in this company. You're fucked.
Amazon/Headsy Bezos, right on. We also got Chris with the 2 new dockets dropped. All right, we'll have to get someone on him in the background if someone could pull those up and just kind of.
These salted caramel Twix, they are the shit. Delicious.
Briefly look through them. Would love to see if there's anything there. Maui Sam with the 5. Maui Sam says 417 is also known as 10K gold. All right, right on, Maui. Appreciate the love. And we got a membership here from a low tumbleweed. Holy shit, tumbleweed, man. How you doing? With the soft PP membership. Right on, tumbleweed. You're a fucking huge celebrity here on the show, man. From your last appearance, where the fuck you been out, man? Great to see you. All right, sorry about that, fellas. ABC, go ahead.
ABC, Houston, sorry, man. Wow. Been on stream for a while here. I just want to ask you a quick question and just get your feedback. First and foremost, thank you for doing what you do, man. You continue to spread discussion in the community, and it takes an army to get this done. So thank you for what you do. I guess I want to throw out maybe a timeline with just a speculative understanding what could have happened, which may not require SEC approval going forward. And what I mean by that is I almost foresee a deal was almost done in January. However, JPM had their clause in the stake of the company, where as the main debtor, they had complete control over whether a transaction could be done or not. So come February, we're expecting an SEC approval as to a possible merger acquisition, but that deal fell through because JPM, they take it to bankruptcy. But just before bankruptcy, you still, if the deal didn't happen with JPM, why would you have people resigning from their board positions? So that to me kind of said, well, they're still matching the covenants of the FCC approval. And then you recently still had, Brett and Carl sell off their positions and Newells and everything. Larry stepped down, all following a timeline. And we recently saw in the bankruptcy papers, legalese about no need to further have the SEC approve an amended plan as such. Really, in a sense, they could just announce and go. And if you're using safe harbor law, Rule 147, and you set up your corporations within each state for both the tax implications, setting up, I believe there's about 14 of these subsidiaries set out in the Delaware aspect, you get change of control, you have no voting rights, you avoid any SEC interference. I'm almost wondering that it's just really a planned drop without any approval required from the SEC. I don't.
But safe harbor laws are for like forward guidance and stuff like that. What?
No, I want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I was reading about that a couple days ago, and basically you go state by state for approval, I guess, as you're establishing these subsidiaries. Sure. I mean, like I said, like everything I keep reading, I'm like, that seems plausible. And
Yeah.
you know,
I
everything
mean,
goes, that's
we
so
don't-
crazy,
we don't
stupid, why'd you do that? Yeah.
We-
So, I mean, we won't know until something gets filed and we see what it is. And we're all just antsy and the pantsy. Like I keep telling my viewers, like, we're just thumb twiddling experts at this point. All we do is
Narrator. There were no subsidiaries and nothing was filed.
twiddle thumbs all day, waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. I feel like a kid at Christmas, but I have no fucking clue when Christmas is going to be. So,
Yeah, I mean,
it's,
these shorts are kind of like locked in too with their positions, like all of us. So it's like, you know, in a sense, it's
They're
like maybe
not,
it was
though.
kind of part of their
They're
plan
really
to kind of
fucking
force
not.
a liquidation of some of these short hedge funds. Again, you know, if you're, let's say, billions of shares short on this fucking thing naked, and all of a sudden there's like some form of like, you know, a clawback for shares or like a recall, whatever it may be, you know, in terms of like, you know, taking the company private, for instance, or things like that, they could be pretty fucked real quickly, in my opinion. And again, if we get a cash and stock deal, right, a combination, then that's a very big recipe for a disaster, in my opinion. So real quick, I just want to read this.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was
That never happened.
just gonna read this comment out here. Someone, Chris said, someone pointed this out earlier. They said, I think part of the SEC was doing with Cohen was he laid out the plans explaining what is and will be happening. Nate P, maybe shall P not set traps. Maybe so. Yeah. Sorry, it was typed out kind of fucked up there. Also, touching grass with a 469. Holy fuck. Let's fuck around and
Touching grass. That is such an ironic username. All of these individuals in this live stream could have used a dose of fucking touching grass.
find out. I'm looking forward to the party. 500 max per day. All right, touching grass. We'll see you then, man. Right on. Appreciate your support. Make sure don't show the melties that now. All right. Houston, wait. Go ahead, man. You were gonna add on to what you were saying there.
I was gonna say. I lost my train of thought. We're talking about the different states, different things.
It was in terms of like there could be billions of shares short, the possibility of taking the company private.
So
Yeah.
let's say that there's some sort of cash deal, right? You know, we saw in the lawyer fees that there was, you know, buybacks and things like that listed in there. So let's say they do like, hey, we're
There were no cash deals.
doing a buyback of $25, as we've seen bandied about. Who knows what's that? That's even real, right? And that is cash that's going to be owed on every single one of those call options. Right?
Yeah.
So we got 200,000 call options, probably averaging about $2,500 to $2,000 per option, if that's the case. That's $500 million right off the bat in cash that the market makers who wrote these options have to come up with, because they don't have the shares anymore. Then that don't be transferring shares; it'd be dumping cash in people's accounts.
Right.
So you know, right there is right there, it destroys liquidity. Like we see every you know year, every 8 months to a year, Citadel does exactly a $600 million bond offering because they don't have fucking money. They owe.
No. They do a bond offering. Because it makes sense as a company. If you have an investment, like if you have capital in the company, this is the thing I always get really pissed off about with GameStop. If Ryan Cohen actually thought that there was a growth model for the company, he'd be not only using the cash on his balance sheet, he would be accessing credit pools. The reason why Citadel always has a bond offering is because they have the ability to leverage or maximize their profits. They have assets on their balance sheet that they can use as collateral to take out loans and increase their revenues, increase their earnings, pay a bit of those earnings back to their creditors in the form of interest payments, and still make money. When you are a growing business operation, taking out credit is a good thing. It's why people talk about, and I think it's stupid, you should just buy a house because you want to live in a house and you can afford it. But it's why people think about it as like an investment thing. If you have the capital, you can put the capital into the house, the house value appreciates, yada, 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 yada. So, like, if you have a business that is growing, then yeah, putting out bonds is not bad. In fact, it's good. You should probably do some of that as long as you're being responsible with it. But these clowns, all they see is, ooh, they're taking out bonds because they can't afford shit. And it is such an idiotic way to look at finance, and it's why they fucking lost their shirt multiple times over.
So much for so many things that they've got to keep it stored somewhere, and they don't have the actual cash liquidity they need, so they have to keep floating these bonds. And just imagine if that alone would be enough to like suck up all liquidity at Citadel and at Virtue and at Night Capital and other market makers. I mean, Doug Seif was having a goddamn meltdown.
Yeah, you see that shit? I mean, something happened. Tell me something is not right there. Like, I'm telling you, how does a guy? Okay, how does it make sense? A guy who runs, I think, again, I don't know the valuation of the company. Some people have said it's like $1 billion or something. I don't know. He's a market maker regardless. But how does someone who's a multi-fucking millionaire, who's sitting there, and if he's correct with him saying that, oh, these guys just went to zero, why the fuck would he be sitting there targeting Salvatore? It makes no fucking sense.
He should be sitting in a study with a single malt scotch and a glass of ice.
Thank you.
Just stirring it, going.
And he said, yeah, fuck you. I'm the.
I mean, that's what he ended up doing with you guys, but I mean, he's probably like me, and he just likes a good shit-stirring fight on the internet. I mean, that is what got him kicked out of the NHL. He was starting shit fights on Twitter because, like a lot of millionaires, he's fucking bored. So, yeah, I mean, there's that. But now he's off probably enjoying yet another yacht trip while you guys are, I don't know, Michael's homeless. Who knows about ABC? I don't know about this Wally Buck guy. Salvatore's gone to prison. Houston Wade's in prison. And PP is living with his parents.
He was a fucking multimillionaire. You guys just went to zero, right? He wouldn't be sitting there.
He's working on a coronary and wanting to like fist fight Salvador in the street. It's amazing.
It's fucking nuts. It brings me back to the days of early GameStop when I can't remember. I always forget his name. He came onto he came onto a live stream and then he acted like his webcam like went down. It wasn't working and he was panicking and shit because people can tell this bullshit. And again, when people who are worth millions like this and they come in and they start causing a ruckus amongst like not only like it's just like retail investors, something's not right here. Again, if this has gone to zero and this is a liquidation, why are you even interacting with Salvatore at this point? Because again, like,
because it's fucking funny. And Salvatore's a fucking loser, felon, idiot.
I was telling people on my show today, like, we're dog shit, all of us. We've been sweeping floors, we've been like, driving kids around, we've been writing Starbucks names wrong on the cup. We're dog shit people. We're used to being fucking losers getting ramen for dinner. And when we lose, our life doesn't change, right? Oh, I lose my $3,000 investment on Bed Bath & Beyond. Okay, I guess I'll have mac and cheese again tonight. Like, my life doesn't change at all.
That's a really interesting way to look at finance. Because if you think like that, I really wonder about how your finances are going to look when you retire. Like, is your plan to be a lifer at your local restaurant or your local Walmart? Are you plan on being a Walmart greeter when you're fucking 60? Like this idea that you can just piss $20K into a hole. Like, it's so fucking idiotic. And how much time and effort it takes to build up that money. Talking about how retail investors, it's just fucking 20K. Just flushing it down the toilet. Who cares? I'll get another 20K. Like, they've got the whole thing inversed. Like, this is such idiotic. I don't even know what to say about it. Like, the idea that somehow Wall Street millionaires have everything to lose and you have nothing to lose is just so childishly idiotic. Like, it requires you to have such a Saturday morning cartoon villain kind of vibe. Like Saturday morning cartoons, like, and the heroes won and the villains, run off to cower in their dark lair. Like, that's how you envision society, and it's fucking. I can send you back to the daycare if that's really where you want to go, but for the rest of us adults, that's not how reality works. You fucking children.
Doug Sifu, if he loses on this, he has to have mac and cheese for dinner, and he has to go work at Starbucks as a crappy barista.
No.
At 50 years old, like, his life becomes significantly worse. They view our lifestyle and the way we live as inhuman.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
They do not want to live like us ever. And the thought of dropping down from their West Palm Beach estate to living out like in the shitty suburbs where we are is the
and that also didn't happen.
of a death sentence. This is why whenever the market collapses, a bunch of dudes start jumping out of buildings in Manhattan because they don't.
No. It wasn't when people were jumping out of buildings in Manhattan. You fucking cartoonish fucking pedophile. It was normal people who thought their lives were over because they ruined everything for their family. You fucking idiot. Like, also the fact that you just wish that on other people who you don't even fucking know. I'm so glad you're in prison. It's definitely where you fucking belong.
Want to live like the rest of us. They don't want bad groceries. Like, fuck that. I might as well kill myself. So
Jesus, how fucking privileged.
No, that is not it. It has nothing to do with bagging groceries. It's the idea that they are in such debt, normal people in such debt, that they have destroyed their lives. And there's no way they can get out from under it. The exact reason bankruptcy laws were created, by the way. And, aside to also get rid of debtor prisons, but and also the fact that they're foaming at the mouth for this kind of shit. Like, they wonder why everyone hates them on the internet. because they are horribly vile and despicable people. And then when they get called out for that and called shitheads and assholes, they just project onto other people. But like, this is their natural state. This pent up angst about society and them being abject fucking failures their entire fucking life. Not achieving in a single fucking thing they do. And now they're just like projecting onto other people their insecurities. Again, Houston Wade is where he fucking belongs.
Man, are these some of these people? Good lord.
They are terrified.
Sure.
And that's why we could be so cocky, because
Not really. And also the idea that you think everyone can be just cocky. Look now at these statements, and then look now at the Bed Bath & Beyond community here in the beginnings of 2026. MJL is divorced, had his kids taken away from him, and everything else that went on in that whole divorce proceedings where he tried to turn it into something about Bed Bath & Beyond and went fucking absolutely insane. The amount of people who have had threats, the whole Ramiz situation, talking about how he rapes people's mothers in a fucking plane, and talking about how he fucks all the shills and their wives and all this stuff. The threats of harassment against Amy, the threats against Doug Sifu, all the different things that have happened over these past 2 years. Who is fucking winning again? Who are the horrible people? Who are the people who can't survive when they've been kicked out of their apartment or are homeless? Hi, how you doing, Michael? We're having to beg online to sell their YouTube channel or their X account or their body to make rent? Seriously. Who are the people who have nothing to lose? The rich guy living it up and yucking it up in fucking Florida, or you? When are all of you gonna look back on videos like this, look at your reality now, and be fucking honest with yourselves? Seriously.
I can eat ramen noodles and mac and cheese for the rest of my life. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you make a
No, you're not even gonna get that in prison. Have a nice day.
great point. Yeah.
No, we can't lose. Even if we lose, nothing changes.
We'll just
So-
pick up and try it again, man. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. Wow.
So there's lots of stories that live on about like how hard it is to live as a normal person. Like the most
Sure.
famous one recently is Schitt's Creek. People on top of the world and they gotta live like average human beings. And it's like these filth, these animals.
Mhm.
This is going to be not just the hedge fund managers, but the billionaires who have entrusted their money with these hedge fund managers. About to have it blink out. And people talk, oh, well, the inflation, what happens if Moaz happens? No, it's just gonna be a transfer of wealth.
Right.
We're gonna buy their mansions at auction. And they're gonna be renting their shitty apartments. That's just what's
What wishful thinking.
gonna be.
Holy shit.
So-
It sounds like paradise, man. Real quick, Chris with the 20. I have a brain injury, been on workers' comp a year now. Holy shit, man. I'm sorry to hear that. Love to speak sometime. I can articulate better. It's more like maybe the SEC allowed him to set traps. That's the silence on MMTLP. Good point. Love to meet y'all. Excuse me. Love to meet y'all, but I don't have $500. Well, Chris, we'll see what we can make happen, man. We'll see once we get our total headcount towards the end of it, and if we got an extra spot, maybe we'll be able to bring you on too, man. So I hope you get better, man. We also got another tip here from Materison. Remember when Steve Cohen said trading was a tough game? Can't wait to see him giving blowies behind the dumpster at Wendy's after this play. Right on. Cool. Appreciate the love, man. You make a good point, Houston Wade. These guys will kick and scream and do anything they can to make sure that this doesn't implode, but they're the ones who made the bet. They're the ones who made the deal, right, of infinite
Exactly.
losses. So to be fair, it's
Projection.
like, if you made the bet and you're on a losing bet, you're on a fucking losing bet. But instead, what these fucking assholes do is they take these fucking swaps and they fucking pass them along to banks until they fucking go under. And that's what you saw. You saw a multitude of banks go under. And again, this is a serious fucking problem. I think that, the entire market itself has such a bad naked shorting problem that you're seeing it ripple across the entire economy, man. And again, it's fucking crazy, man. They got bailed out in 2008. They just fucking did it again. The only difference is they're not using the housing, CEOs and stuff. They're more so going after like they're targeting specific businesses and companies, and they're destroying technology companies that are already kind of in this state of vulnerability, like cancer development technologies, things like that. And they fucking wipe them off the fucking planet Earth, man. Like it's the
Okay. This is such an idiotic summation of fucking healthcare stocks. Okay. I would prefer if a healthcare company stayed as a venture capital company and took funding rounds from rich people till the cows come home. I know he's talking about Northwest Biopharma. What I hate, absolutely hate, is when these biopharma research companies go public. Because all they are dilution machines. they could just stay in venture capital, take seed funding, and try and prove out their research to, do these great things. I'm not denying that some of them do. But when they come into public markets, the idea is not, rich, wealthy investors pay to invest into these research companies to develop new drugs. It's no, how much can we scrape off of people like you and me to fund their fucking research, assuming that it goes anywhere? And a lot of these healthcare research companies, they don't go anywhere. They just reverse split and dilute and reverse split and dilute and reverse split and dilute and just keep fucking scraping money on projects that may not even go anywhere. Like the science isn't there, or the technology isn't there. It's too ahead of its time, or it never was going to work. But like these companies, I personally don't like them. I personally don't think that they should be in public markets. If you're doing research, it should be for these venture capital companies, these ones that have the money to invest in this and then get a return on investment, and then it could maybe go public. But like asking the average retail investor to bear the burden of paying for the research and development of your whatever drug, your wonder drug that you think might work, possibly maybe in the future, like that just feels so fucking predatory. Hughes is still in jail, yes, to my knowledge. As far as I know, bail was set at a certain amount, but I don't think his family's even bailing him out. And there's no way he has the money for the bond. I think it was set at $200,000, which would mean he'd have to come up with $20K. You think this idiot right here has fucking $20K? I'm gonna go out there on a limb and say no. I'm pretty sure he doesn't have $20K.
It's the sickest thing that any fucking person out there can be. And these guys don't, same, you hear the term like these people don't trade off of emotions. They don't. I don't even think they have emotions in general to feel for certain people.
Every single one of them.
Money. Yeah, it's just money. It's a money game. Destroy this fucking company, piss all over them. And it's sick, man, but that's the reality of, kind of how we're living. Real quick, Pretty talks investing with a 2,500 AED. Holy shit, how much is that, Pretty?
Personally, you shouldn't be emotional in your investing. You should just look at the financials and try and make your best educated guess on what the company's going to do.
$700.
Holy shit, Pretty. PB, ABC, Jake, Sal, Betts team. You carried us to the finish line. Thank you. Grateful. Holy shit. Appreciate the love, Pretty. We also got Control Chaos with the 2. Great. Now I want mac and cheese at 1 a.m. I think that sounds great, man. I say make it. Captain Redbeard with the 5. Yes, I am dog shit wrapped in cat shit. Exactly that.
I think there's going to be a lot that happens between
To dig in, my man. Ultimately, like
shit from him being sued and shit, man. Yeah.
Salvatore, quick question on that. From your review, does that seem to indicate that is like the final list of
amount of bonds.
rep informed me that that AST is no longer the transfer agent, and what options set to expire in January of 24. And
I do as well.
So, and I think all of those are getting rolled up to
the 20th.
Yeah, 20K
in this transfer breadcrumb trail.
Right.
Like I was saying earlier, like he's a judgment debtor. So if he had 20K in the bank, trust me, there would be a non-wage garnishment out, and they would get the 20K. If it was in his bank account, it would have been gone already.
They told me, and it was not exactly conclusive, like what Mellon Investments LLC shares, but not exactly. If we were going,
man, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Stop that.
Spin off. Again, this company
It's total bear trap, but all they did was divvy up.
When we show you quickly, like I know like some people.
Oh,
but,
it's you, Copy. Hey, how you doing?
Could you?
I'm sorry, I have to briefly pause at the insanity of charting a dead stock. Oh my goodness. Oh no. All right.
So I do believe that there's nothing like
market value. They condense it to lower any ability for a margin call, so it ended up being 3.5 billion. Literally before we hit bankruptcy, the 52-week high was.
It's the most.
Oh, here we go.
I just kind of add this out. I'll probably post this on the
please.
And, Twitter so that you guys can hear and stuff.
Yeah, I want to get another look.
How I look at it. Of course, things will change, but
yep.
So I'm really excited for this week, guys. This whole month is gonna be fucking shit show, like squeeze and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm really excited for it, man. So
cool.
Go.
All right, you heard it from you, Copy, man. I fucking love this thing that you made here. You Copy. This is a great way to describe it, in my opinion. So fantastic, man. Chad, let's get some love for you, Copy, on his way out. Have a great rest of your weekend. See you, man.
Double dummy.
All right, you heard it from you, Copy. We'll start bringing.
Are we talking about the people in the show here? The double dummy transaction? I don't know. A lot of dummies on here.
The show to a close. We'll let Houston Wade go, and then we'll bring in Alpha State for the night. Houston Wade, we've been streaming 5.5 hours, man. I'm glad we finally got you on. I know it's.
Okay, so that's the end of Houston Wade on this one. Let's see about this other one real quick.
That he's married based off that.
I'm trying to look for this
and,
fucking
and
post.
one more shout out while we're on anniversaries and birthdays and everything. Rock Solid getting married tomorrow.
Like, I don't think Goldberg, so they're gonna be hearing on.
Dan, Bed Bath & Beyond with the membership. Yeah, I don't know where this post is, but maybe if someone can direct where this post is from, Jay would love to see it tonight. All right, Chad, please give a warm welcome to none other than Houston Wade. All right, Houston Wade, how the fuck are we doing tonight, man? It's great to see you.
I'm well. How's everybody?
Good, man. We've been great. Long time no talk on the show, man. Yeah. So it's good to see you tonight. Stick around as long as you like. Have you been following some of this Brandon Meadows stuff, Houston?
Yeah, I mean, it was on Monday, I think, is when Goldberg submitted his.
Yeah, we I had said on the Baggy Awards stream that if PP wasn't going to, do the smart thing like Sal did and a couple others of like, yes, Houston Wade was part of our community, we disown him and all this stuff, and by the way, we're deleting it. Instead, PP went the route of, I don't know this guy, he was never really part of our show, this Houston Wade guy, I don't know him, that I was going to play the live streams that had him. So, like, there's some other stuff I wanted to get to, but we decided to take a quick detour and go down some of the old stuff where Houston was part of the PP show. There's a reason he was on the stage for extended periods of time during the whole Pulte event, which we're not going to rehash that. Everyone's done that live stream to fucking death. But it just to prove the point that, yes, he was very chummy with them. He wasn't just some random guest they had on the show. They had him on multiple times. There was even the last stream we did where they said that they had him on a couple times before. Like, he was highly chummy with this group. He was a member of the community. And to suddenly pretend like, oh, Houston Wade, I never knew him. I honestly never knew him. Just, I can't even think of a single time he was just accidentally on the show is a rather dumb take. Everyone knows that he was part of the community, and he was definitely a part of the PP show, often, frequently. And the only reason he didn't show up for the second event, and he admitted as much, was because, Pulte was going the conservative route and trying to get into the Trump administration fairly early on. So, yeah, we're just kind of going over these two live streams. I don't know how much of this one I'll do before we move on to our next topic, but yeah. Well, and he's even bought into Michael's conspiracy theories where Michael is trying to say that Houston Wade is some fucking Epstein, George Soros, evil liberal plant because, Houston Wade, yeah, is a liberal. And so we dealt with it. I think it's on as a live stream, the PPC show Rico Files. And I have planned a second one in that same vein, basically making fun of Michael's stupid Epstein conspiracy theories, but also proving that, I can play a connect the dots game too and connect a lot of these people with very sus people if I wanted to play the same game Michael did, and it'd be a lot more convincing than Michael's Epstein files nonsense. So, but yeah, so basically PP's bought in for his own protection Michael's stupid fucking conspiracy that, now Houston Wade is part of his Epstein conspiracies, and he's trying to prove that he worked for a bunch of Democrats and that he's a Soros psyop, and he worked for Elizabeth Warren and all this other stupid shit. And PP's just going along with it and just like pretending like he never knew Houston Wade knew he was. And that's fucking silly, dude. It's really fucking silly. I'm going to let this play. I'm going to go get a drink and refill, and I'll be right back.
Filing, so they're going to be hearing on the 19th, I guess, on the validity of the claim.
Yes.
I find it interesting. I think a lot of, how do I put this? I don't think Goldberg knows a lot of what's going on, despite being in charge of the plan. I have a feeling that he's narrowly focused on trying to maximize whatever money from fraud or claims or whatever he can get, and anything that's happening with the dip and Philo, he's not a part of. Because the minute if there's a credit bid, he no longer has a job. Like he's gone. So he's not focused on any of that. He's just there to maximize what he can while he's there. But I do think it's interesting because now there's going to have to be discovery on this claim, right? So I'd be very, very interested to see what comes of it. I mean, all you do is speculate from here, but I'm Because like if you file false claims, it's a felony. So why would you file such a huge false claim?
That's what I've been asking on the show for a long time, because like this isn't just some guy just woke up, and even if it was a fucking nefarious party, I don't think that they're going to sit there and submit a claim for, maybe if it was like $1 billion, sure, like to slow things down, but not do $1 billion and then all of a sudden do another 10.8 on top of it. I mean, that's not very clear. And some of the things that we've been discussing here is that there could be potentially maybe a connection to possibly Apollo via this Brandon Meadows. But I'd like to see this post from Jade that specifies whether it is or not. But kind of looking back, I was not aware that this is what happened with Hertz, and with this being a claim, I'm just trying to understand. Essentially because according to Travis, Sixth Street themselves essentially took this priority claim or this admin claim and placed it even above themselves in terms of the payout. And I know Michael may or may not agree with that, but is that confirmed or what, Travis?
I couldn't go back and refine the wording because it was in just one particular docket that was part of the DIP agreement. But I know I read it, and gosh, for the life of me, I went through like multiple dockets trying to refine one little sentence in a paragraph that stated that. But I am certain that I read that all admin claims are a priority above Sixth Street, and Sixth Street has to, or not Sixth Street themselves, but the DIP lender has to approve any administrative priority.
I'm glad that the famous Brandon Meadows has finally revealed himself in this one. Did you see the hotel video? Yes, nasty shit. We did that at the top of this live stream. We went over that. It was crazy. We tried to have some laughs with the serious thing because otherwise you just kind of want to gouge your own fucking eyes out. It seemed like the cops were also trying to do that too because they were talking about using their gloves. Some of the cases they were talking about, it's like, ew, this has been fucking used. But yeah, we basically what I had said and several other people have said is once we that video is what I was wanting to see, but I think once they get into his cell phone and we see some of that, or even his computer, I'm pretty sure that's where they get the evidence that he's just screwed. I'm still of the opinion that we don't even get a trial. Personally, this like they got him pretty rock solid. And I mean, maybe there's a trial because Houston Wade's ego refuses to let himself be to believe that he got caught. So maybe we do get a trial, but I don't know. The smart thing seems to do is just take a plea, but I mean, he is a meme stock guy, so these people aren't exactly known for using their brain.
Pretty much.
So I mean, it's likely to say that it's been placed above, right? I mean, the biggest question is what's going to happen in terms of this claim, right? I mean, 11.8 billion. Could it be possibly we see like an injection of capital? I don't know. But it's very interesting, how they're going to kind of potentially address this. And yes, I mean, we did see in the plan admin's docket as of yesterday, it did state something as was it arguably baseless or however it was stated.
Yep.
It's hard to say, which route they're going to take with that claim. And Michael, honestly, tomorrow I would honestly just ask him just when you have just a split second, be like, well, what are your thoughts on like this $11.8 billion claim? Like honest to God.
Well, we found out because that claim got discharged. So. Who ended up being right on that one? I believe it would be Mr. Goldberg.
I don't know if he'll answer that or not, but it's a fantastic question, in my opinion, to ask the plan admin, Michael.
Yeah.
And then go ahead, sorry.
What I just noticed, actually, not to like stir the pot, but looking at biggest holders of, guess who's a 5% holder of Evergreen? Hudson
Oak
Bay.
Street. Oh, yeah.
No shit.
I hope
Gee.
What?
Yeah.
I'm so confused though, because like there's a thesis behind Hudson Bay. We've always been on one side. Like one side we're bearish about Hudson Bay, one side we're bullish. I mean, this is totally just a head fuck, man.
They're going to go towards where the most money is. So whatever viewpoint that is for their specific situation, they're playing both sides.
And the most money for them was diluting the shit out of you fuckers for as long as they can, taking as much money out of the equity as they possibly could. That's how death spiral financing works.
But that's how they're just staying in the position that they're in.
Right. They're 5% shareholder in
Yeah, they're hedging though. I mean, just like any hedge fund would. They might be a capital firm, just like Sixth Street is, but they're hedging. Hey, we're invested in this. Let's also invest in this, and we'll win on one side. And no, our profits aren't going to be as great, but we're hedging one against the other in a way.
So I want to pull up this post here. I want to get an opinion here from Houston Wade on a post here pertaining to some nulls and creditors as well. Michael, is there
Travis
any
or Hutch wants to pull it up? Actually, I'm going to kind of follow this thread a little bit.
All right, let's take a look at this. Travis, can you pull this one up for us? All right, so we actually forgot to read this on the show yesterday. This was from Canada Dry Noob, and it actually pointed up something very interesting. Let me go ahead and read it here. Also, real quick, Thunderspeed with the 2. Pang is rich. Fancy towel work in the back. Right on, Pang. We also got Thunderspeed with the 2. Plur, the officiant at Rock Solid's wedding. Right on, man. Right on. All right, so from Canada Dry Noob, says here, last night on the PP show, the topic of nulls came up, including a comment by Marcus that nulls belong to creditors. As you remember this week, we did discuss this. Now, Houston Wade, I did want to get your opinion on what you think about this. From Norman Stubbs, he says, what about the nulls, Marcus? He says they belong to creditors, including unsecured creditors. I actually came back to him and said false. The nulls were actually not monetized. Yada, yada. Essentially, we would get 50% new equity via the nulls. Canada goes on to say, first, let's clarify, this does not mean individual creditors can receive a portion of the nulls in the form of a tax write-off, nor does it mean the nulls are an asset that can be liquidated and handed out as a cash recovery. For uncapped nulls to move forward in a reorganized company, at least 50% of the new company equity must be composed of the old company's shareholders and creditors, which we know for a fact. Since shares were canceled, there's no longer shareholder representation in the old company. So uncapped nulls can only move forward in a reorganized company with a debt for equity swap. However, the short position can still be salvaged by issuing new equity to canceled equity, since every short is forever linked to a long, even through cancellation. Salvage short position equals distribute new equity to canceled equity. Salvage nulls equals debt for equity swap. So Marcus is right. The nulls belong to creditors. More accurately, uncapped nulls can only be carried forward on the backs of creditors in the debt for equity swap. Why did Marcus say including unsecured creditors when he could have just said creditors? Who are the unsecured creditors? Primarily bondholders. I'll take it. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Travis. Then I want to hear Houston's opinion.
That's the accountant's job.
Let's hear it.
So
God love how Marcus has been pretty clear about like swatting down all their conspiracy theories, and they still hover around him.
nulls reside with the entity itself. So in order for a secured or unsecured creditor, for the nulls to belong to them, their debt for equity would have to encapsulate them actually taking over a particular entity in essence, or 50% of that. That way they can obtain or retain 50% of the nulls for themselves. But in doing so, those nulls really, they stay with the entity that were acquired. And that entity those nulls can be used with that entity going forward, of course, up to like, there's a 20-year carry forward for that.
All this does not matter in the slightest.
It's what I'm looking for here. God, I'm having a brain for it. It's a tax asset. That's what I'm looking for. It's not necessarily something that can be.
Okay,
I hope that kind of.
You can get a cash payout, and that's it. And we're talking about how if you're on the record as refusing equity, you may not be able to accept equity as an unsecured creditor when bankruptcy comes around. Basically, you can get a cash payout, and that's it, and equity moves on to others. I find it kind of strange. I do think that the goal of this is to kind of screw over shorts. That's my own personal speculation. That this entire plan is to lull the shorts into complacency and then just fuck them real hard, because it will generate so much wealth for everyone else. Because if you can force a squeeze on these guys, or
so this
30 cents
was
on the dollar,
February.
whatever, you're gonna win. And so if you
So this was February 28th of 2024. So this was, oh Jesus, almost 2 years ago now.
if you're taking over this company because you're the dip, the Philo, you can, assign a value to the stock, kind of like what Hertz did. Hertz was like, oh, we're going to issue the stock at $13 a share. And all of a sudden that's a floor. And then, send out cash, send out whatever, and that boosts the floor even more. And all of a sudden you've got a whole bunch of, millions, possibly billions of shares that were short at 20 cents and below, all of a sudden exploding the margin on anyone who did it. And I think that's where the real play is, because you get 901 million shares, they're authorized. You can say, in whatever filing you do, when you're going to rejoin the exchange, you can say, oh, we're going to sell 10 million shares at the market over the next 6 months or whatever. And if you get a squeeze going, you can offer those shares and make billions for the company.
Well, it's essentially what GameStop did, is like they were able to build a war chest off, selling into the squeeze.
How excited is everybody for fucking earnings with Ryan Cohen behind the bag?
How do you think that the earnings are going to look this time around? Because I think from the last one they were heading for profitability, if I'm not mistaken.
Profitability. I think we break that barrier. I think we see above like a.
I was planning on doing that quarter 4 last year, and I had my options, sold them for a couple thousand profit. I bought a whole bunch of puts, thinking here we go, and then they crush earnings by like 67 cents a share or something.
You bought puts on GME?
Oh yeah, because it's what the hedge funds were doing. But their earnings were insane. They beat it like 67 cents, and the stock price went up $11 after hours, which is the first time out of all those earnings calls. And even since then, the last 3 have been exactly like the old pattern. It runs up and then they hammer it down after hours. And so I think what Ryan Cohen is doing.
Houston, you should have done it on AMC today.
It doesn't get hammered down in after hours. It's, oh my goodness. This happens with all these meme stocks, and I've taken advantage of it on a couple occasions. And I've told the AMC crowd about it, and I've told the GameStop crowd about it. When you guys run up the price before earnings, you push up the price to infinity and beyond, no earnings are going to move green the stock. You guys have already priced in the earnings by blowing the price well beyond its fair value. And so people, because all apes are retail, but not all retail are apes, they see the price, they see the earnings, they make their decision, and they sell. Because the price is inflated past where fair value is. And this happens almost all the time with these meme stocks heading into earnings. The price gets jacked up, way juiced for no fucking reason other than earnings are about to happen. And then earnings happen, the price is well above where fair value is, and the price collapses.
Dude,
yeah.
Why didn't you? I
didn't have anything to throw at today.
You're right about the calls though. Like you can easily catch GameStop at like the $13 levels. You can easily get the calls. And I tried, I was looking at some patterns last week too, and I was certain that last week we would have this run to like at least 14.30 on GME. So I was playing like these $1.02, staying in like these options. And then that week I was actually wrong. This week it actually happened. So they do it does follow like this kind of pattern, but it's hard to say what it's going to look like in earnings. Sometimes what happens is the stock price will kind of run into earnings and then it will essentially like fall flat. And then essentially sometimes you have other times where the stock's fucking trading, just nothing's happening, and then boom, on earnings it just explodes. So
so my plan this time around is I'm thinking that the Cohen Company has been sort of gaming the previous 3 quarters. You notice like, oh, we just missed by 1 cent, right? We lost 1 cent a share, and they did that like each of the 3 quarters. And I think what they've been doing is they've been manipulating their reporting so they can put all the earnings into this 4th quarter and make it huge and make it bigger than what the analysts expect, so they can have a huge run on the stock price. And
that's called accounting fraud. That's called accounting fraud, Houston.
I give it a good chance that they announce a dividend this quarter, no matter how small it is, 2 cents a share, 25 cents a share, whatever. And so I'm a degenerate gambler. So what I'm doing this time around is I'm buying about
You're preaching to the choir, man.
yeah, I'm buying about 1,000 weeklies the Friday before earnings at about $5 to $7 above the share price. I'm gonna let it ride, baby. Because
wait, what do you have?
I'm not seeing,
All right, let me hear.
Friday before earnings, so it'll be the March 21st or whatever it is.
Okay, what are you planning?
I'm gonna buy about 1,000 calls that are about $5 to $7 above the strike price. And if they have earnings like they did last year for Q4, they'll run $11 after hours, and I could turn that into several $100,000 if I'm right.
It's not a bad idea, but the problem is that right around earnings, you're gonna get IV crush. That's the problem.
No, there's some.
Yeah.
I want to give you some unsolicited advice, and this has happened repetitively for the last like 6 quarters. About 2 weeks before earnings, buy some options that expired the Friday a week and a half after earnings.
Yeah.
And just play IV. The IV will spike 2 weeks later before earnings. So I guarantee you make 100% profit. 100%. And I'm not telling anybody to do
Not
this.
financial advice.
I'm saying it's good. Yes.
Wow. An intelligent idea from Travis. Who would have guessed?
Financial advice. If you're a degenerate gambler, do it paper trade it. Get on paper trade.
Well,
I promise you.
I mean, you make a good point. I mean, options are fantastic if you utilize them properly. Yes, you can lose a lot of money, and losing money is really like the learning experience of options. You understand how to get IV crush. You know what I mean? Like, how else are you gonna figure out how to get IV crush unless you lose $500?
Well, like we haven't even gotten into like Houston Wade's actual videos on his actual channel talking about stuff like MMTLP and all this crap. These guys they're mental midgets, to be sure.
In the chat, I guarantee it. But this is not financial advice.
All right, what do you guarantee? Let's hear it.
No,
yeah, but yeah, I mean, looking at options, things like looking at GameStop, maybe we're heading to profitability, right? And like the biggest question too is,
they all are in their own head. They're just one options trade away from being a millionaire.
What is Ryan Cohen actually planning as the CEO? I mean, not only as the CEO, but also he's at the helm of Pause for nearly 6 months now. What's
whatever he wants.
exactly? So well with IP, excuse me, that he's sitting on $3 billion in cash, right? Carl Icahn's sitting on $3 billion, GameStop's sitting on $1 billion. I mean, they're taking a picture together. There's some form of maybe not necessarily a business transaction, but there's something happening here. I mean, you're talking about two massive, two of the largest. You won't find it because nobody's saying fuck all about it, right? So I mean, it leads me to believe that
asset management, and they're a big holder in L. Caterton Asia Acquisition Corp.
Wow.
Hey,
there's even
closed-end funds, Square Capital.
Possibly, if maybe there's an injection of
18 billion at one point. They've since collapsed into almost nothingness, but they're sitting on enough knolls that whoever acquires them gets about $600 million back on taxes. And so this article in the Financial Times is all about how these bankrupt companies are really juicy for SPACs because rather than spend a bunch of money and pay a bunch of assholes at Solomon Smith Barney or Goldman Sachs or whatever to help you do an IPO, you just reverse merge.
Oh no, they have millions of dollars in knolls. Too bad the actual debt of the company is billions.
Into one of these SPACs, and all of a sudden you get money back. Like you have to worry about paying somebody to put your shares out there. So having these bankrupt companies be used as a reverse merger like enticement is really juicy. And right now the two biggest companies with a huge amount of knolls in this position are Sears and Bed Bath & Beyond. So I think somebody's gonna take it, and I think the dip financiers look.
They didn't take either of them.
At those books like, all right, we'll spend $500 million and we'll get $3 billion out of this just from merger alone. So that's like the foundation. Anything that happens above and beyond that, I think, is where we get into our speculative realm, and we can make our guesses and lay our bets and see, oh, it's gonna be cash equity, it's gonna be fine against JP Morgan for the buybacks. We're gonna get, it's gonna split to 7 companies. Like, it's all fun to think about that stuff. I think the very base level is you can use these knolls as a SPAC, reverse merger someone in, and stock starts trading again.
Yes.
And with Washington Mutual had gone to fucking zero. I was day trading Washington Mutual back in the day because it would go 1 cent, 2 cent, 1 cent, 2 cent. It's money. The people who held onto their shares got reverse mergered into another company, and those shares went for like $45.
Hold on. So hang on. Let's talk about that for a second. So fill us in. What exactly happened with, what did you say it was called? Washington Mutual?
Washington Mutual was the largest savings loan in America. They went belly up in 2008.
2008, okay.
All of a sudden, FBI sees them. All their assets got sold to JP Morgan Chase for about 1 cent on the dollar. So JP Morgan Chase paid like $3 billion and got $300 billion in assets out of it.
Wow.
And overnight, no bid, like, here, just take it.
Yeah.
So I have to interrupt you. Sorry, Houston, all of you. This literally just happened like this week. There were certain Canadian pensions that ended up selling off 29 million worth of commercial-backed real estate for $1.
At one point, there was a favorable ruling from some federal court for shareholders about, they get some sort of payout in the end. And the stock price went from 1 cent, 50 cents, and I sold, and I went to for 2 months.
That's crazy shit.
People who held to that 50 cents would drop right back down again to like 1 cent, 2 cents. Eventually, the knolls of Washington Mutual got spun into, I can't remember the company that
was the stock canceled though? Was the stock deemed worthless at any point in time during that?
I don't know about that part.
Okay, that's what we need to know.
But equity was reissued as the new shares in this other company, and it shot to like $45 a share. So I mean, there's precedent for that. These SPACs are worth something, and if you're going to want to enter into the market, why not gobble up a banker company?
So then let me ask you this: if you believe that there's going to be a scenario where the knolls and like we reverse into like a SPAC, so walk me through in your mind how that's going to happen. Is that going to be with Bed Bath TF? Is that going to be with the acquisition co? Like how is that going to happen in your mind?
With
the entities involved.
Yeah, which one's going to be doing it? I don't know.
If you had to guess.
My guess is that you'd have the dip, make a bid, and as part of that bid, there may be a cash payout to your creditors. Like, just get the fuck out of here, I want you to do it.
Again, here he doesn't know. PP just asked him to guess, which is Houston Wade's favorite thing because he can just make shit up, whatever sounds cool, even though he knows not a singular fucking thing.
And when they absorb DK Butterfly, they'll probably issue new equity to the shareholders just to fuck with the shorts, because I think that's the entire purpose of this entire thing is they make money off it. But I think really deep down they want to just like break their bone.
Just all out wish for fulfillment. Like, not a fucking clue. I just think this would be really cool if it happened. I got no evidence that it will, but like it'd be really cool for me because I'd make a lot of money.
And sort of legends. Be someone that gets an entire semester in business school taught dedicated to them. This is that's my personal speculation on there. But as to who is going to be the reverse merger target, I have no idea. I don't know if it's going to be Teddy. I don't know if it's going to be Lego. I don't know if it's going to be, you know.
There was
anyway,
no reverse merger target.
You can have multiple companies spin out of it. You can have, you know, it's. I just think whatever's the most diabolical thing, that seems to be the most likely because it presents the greatest reward in the end.
Yeah, and I still sometimes just sit here and I just try to understand, you know, what.
His entire thought process has nothing to do with what is most likely or probable to happen. What would make him filthy, stinking rich? Because he's a poor, broke piece of shit, now known as pedo, who has a $500 million judgment racking up 12% interest over his head, and he desperately needs the money to be somebody again.
The point of preserving the ticker, preserving the nulls, if in the end you had nothing really to give in terms of like shareholders, things like that. So
and like they didn't do the math on the nulls.
They didn't preserve the ticker and they didn't preserve the nulls. But anywho,
until after they sold off IP, they didn't bother starting that.
Why do you think they would do it that way?
Because they didn't want anyone who would do a giant stocking horse bid for the entire company to basically know what the nulls were, I think, and not have that on there. And that's one of the things that the shills are always like, well, they're worth anything. Like, they didn't even start work on it until after they sold off IP. Companies did gone.
Yeah.
Why in July did they start calculating the nulls? Why did they do that before then? Like, do you know how a calendar works?
And then the timing as well with like some of the the stocking horse like deadlines, things like that. Then all of a sudden you start seeing like this $1 billion claim on the 14th of July. Then we see an additional 10.8 billion that comes in on October 24th, which was very interesting as well. So like a lot of the timelines too, like it's just for me, it's hard to see that how the claim itself could be seen as nefarious. So I like to think that the claim is beneficial to us as shareholders. How they're going to address it is going to be very interesting. I don't really know how the plan admin will address it. But you know, again, they're addressing these smaller claims right now for like $1 million. I don't really think they should be doing this. They should be focusing on the elephant in the room, the $11.8 billion claim that is by far the largest fucking claim.
That ended up being just a false claim.
Out of everything, how it's going to happen, how it's going to
transpire. We've seen dockets for like $114 claims. Like,
yes,
the docket drop is like $114 to like Joe's cleaning service. Like, who gives a shit? Like, right. Cut them a check and let them go away. Yeah.
Let me go ahead and pull this up. I would love to get your guys' opinions on this. Travis, if you don't mind pulling this up real quick, we can just take a quick look. And then let me go ahead and read back some of these tips here. My apologies if I missed a couple here, fellas. Do you still want to sit in for a little longer?
I can sit in like 15 minutes. I get ready to do my own show. So
sounds good, man. Yeah. What time are you going live?
Probably about 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock, right on.
Well, 8 o'clock my time. So.
Okay. Well, that's it for Houston Wade. So that deals with that segment.